And where is China in the stages of empire cycle now, would you say?
So China is well and truly, its expansionary second stage started in about 96, and the evidence of a 50-year plan of expanding underneath the umbrella of American power is overwhelming. And it was a damn cunning plan. Started off by making them look like us, which they've done, build a manufacturing base like us. Now they're the manufacturing base of the world, and they destroyed our manufacturing base in the process.
Time, yeah.
All of those things were part of their plan. The only thing that's changed, which is interesting, is that I think if Deng woke up, he would have said to Xi, "Oh, you stuck your neck out too early." And Xi stuck his neck out for a number of reasons. One is he's a very, very aggressive, capable leader, brought up under a father who was, close to Mao, kicked out. He knows that there's only one thing you can do to ensure your survival in the Communist Party, and that's sit at the top of it ruthlessly. So he is committed to that path, and he sees the same for China as an extension of his own perspective for his own survival. So when Obama was his opposition, and Obama represented, and I said this at the time, Obama was the absolutely classic president of decline. He came from the underclasses because the demographic of the underclasses gave him the electoral power to do so. And people who rise from the underclasses, whoever they are, whatever their education, whatever their race, focus on the internal social dynamics rather than the maintenance of the borders of the empire.
Yeah.
They're always neglected. And they were neglected and they imploded. And Xi just moved into the space and he accelerated the mechanism, from, I would say, 50 years to 30 years. And the more that America withdrew, the more they moved, the more emboldened they were. The Belt and Road system, the whole process of colonialism through debt and control and manipulation, all of those came under the Obama period. Then came Trump. And Trump's was a response, and predictable, because essentially America gave too much power away too quickly. And the unconscious electorate said, hang on a second, make me great again. And Trump just walked right into the phrase. And along he came with the promise of making them great. Problem is narcissists never make anyone great, just themselves. And that's fundamentally what he did. Whatever he said he was going to do, he didn't do it. If he had delivered on it, it would be a different world. But he didn't. Even his trade deal, he ended up going to Xi and saying, I need to be in power, can you help me? How do you combat someone when you're asking for their help to be re-elected? You can't. But he did increase awareness of the threat to China. Although he didn't actually create the mechanism to push them back. He started to create secondary polarization, as I call it, which is the response of the hegemon that's been challenged to the immune system response of saying, what do we do, how do we do it? But he didn't actually deliver anything. In fact, he made it worse. He destroyed alliances and relationships. He destroyed the trust in this process of democracy himself, and the capital rights were the personification of it. So he just weakened the system, not strengthened it. And that's why Biden was able to walk in for two reasons. One is essentially that America's becoming poorer, which is another sure sign of decline. And you end up with a few people who are wealthy through the printing of money, and the bottom of the pyramid has just not helped. So you end up with dislocations. And Obama is a socialist. Biden is a socialist. He's continued with the agenda, but that's exactly what's happened. Socialism comes at the end of the system where you try and help everyone with your balance sheet. It doesn't work. And Biden is the Callahan that we had that ended our decline process appallingly. He's the same level of person. And the problem is for America, unless the Republicans eject Trump, another term of Trump will finish America off without the Chinese. So the question there is essentially, can the Republican Party wake up sufficiently to enact a new form of leader? It had to be a military leader with strategic knowledge.
Yep.
So an admiral would probably be my preference because of their strategic understanding. And that's the best survival route I can see through for America. A military character rising through the Republican Party, removing the Trumpites and creating a system that can defend itself again. But even then, that looks like it's going to be a bit too late. So it's a very tricky, I can't quite see the routes out of it. And I think Britain's role in waking up is an important role because America might just not be able to do the things it really needs to do unless it has some weapons in Area 51, of course, or some black programs that we don't know about, which is entirely possible, although I suspect not to definitively change the balance.
So in the event you got someone like, I don't know, Dan Crenshaw or somebody from the Republican Party ends up becoming the president of the US, you still think it would be a managed decline stage for America?
So one of the interesting things, so we have a life cycle. We're born and we die. The options we have extend our life. They extend our quality of life. They extend basically, what we'd really like is a long curve and then bang. That would be ideal for human existence. Yeah. But we are going to die. and America is going to die as a system that's dominant. What's interesting is Britain rejuvenated itself with its old structure, and the speed of rejuvenation is surprising historically. So the question is, can America preserve enough of its constructs to allow something else to come through? And I was really intrigued because I think film and the stories told in film recognize social moods and behaviors.
Yes, right.
And they predict them in many ways and resonate with them. And Isaac Asimov's film Foundation, which is for someone of my generation the foremost piece of science fiction you read, about how do you basically, when you know your civilization is falling, create a covenant or an arc which allows the next one to rise more quickly. And that's now on Apple TV, which I think is extremely resonant.
Right.
And so it comes back to the question of Britain actually is moving forward to hold the baton of Western democracy. And America will have to do what Britain did afterwards, if we get through without conflict, of live a period of reformation. And in effect, the phoenix can't rise without the ashes. And the only way you can break that cycle or change it is you create an offshoot of yourself as you move into decline, and something similar rises, the system itself, like your son or your daughter, is the same human paradigm. And Britain was the same with America. As we declined, our cousin took over. So one of those passings of the baton is possible. But I don't think you can just suddenly circumvent the terminal phases and say, oh, we can just go straight to expansion again. It's not possible.